I wonder how Charlie Ray feels. He is the former royal editor at The Sun, and Charlie is with us now. You're very welcome to talkTV. Charlie, how are you doing?
I'm very well, Peter. Hope you are too.
Yes, I am. You've been a busy bee the last few days.
Just a bit, yeah.
So, I mean, what do you make of these revelations in the papers today? I mean, a further possible physical or near physical confrontation between them. I mean, what do we really know about how William is reacting to this?
Well, we only know from reading some of the stuff saying that he's burning inside, but he will not react, and I don't think the king will react either. And I think that's a good tactic, to be perfectly honest, because if they do react, then you're going to fan the flames that Harry has lit, and good God, he's lit a lot of flames.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting. A lot of the royal approach, certainly from the Queen, is never complain, never explain, all that sort of stuff. I mean, do you think that's the right approach, Charlie? I mean, you've said...
I do. In this circumstance, yes, because, as I say, if they react, I mean, if they were to turn around and sort of say, the dog bowl incident didn't happen, then you've then got another gush of stuff coming up saying, oh yes it did, oh no it does. It becomes a sort of pantomime scenario, and I really do think the best way is for them at the moment to say nothing. Peter, there has to come a time where it may well be that they will be forced to say something, and I suspect...
Well, surely, I mean, we're hearing that William and Kate are out and about this week at royal engagements. No doubt there will be many journalists attempting to throw questions at them, saying, you know, sir, is this true? Did you lamp your brother, etc.?
And I think you'll find that he'll be stoic, and there'll be no reaction.
Although he did react, Charlie, remember when he said we're very much not a racist family? That was something he said after that allegation, which doesn't seem to, so far anyway, I haven't seen it in the book or any of the reporting around the book, Spare. Maybe it is in there, but I haven't seen it so far.
Well, no. There is no mention, of course, of the so-called racist in the family. But we do know that there is a fourth book due, which is going to be written by Meghan. Are they going to name the racist then? Don't forget that Harry did say in the Oprah Winfrey interview that he would not name the so-called racist, which is very surprising. He seems to have been quite free with information about everything else, but you would have thought that, you know, something that was so traumatic for him, you know, someone actually daring to ask what the son is, what is it going to look like, you'd have thought that would have been featured quite well.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one, and certainly would sort of sell a few books as well. Linda's been in touch. She says, hi Peter, hope you're okay. Thank you, Linda. I'm very well, thank you. I think Harry has been damaged mentally since he was born. Don't forget William lost his mother too at a very impressionable age. I worry about his state of mind. He's clearly on self-destruct. Do you think Harry's on self-destruct?
Well, yeah, possibly he is on self-destruct. Look, he's got an awful lot of chips on his shoulder for a start off. What has not helped is the drink, the marijuana, the magic mushrooms, the cocaine that he has confessed. And there is now a big question mark whether or not he is suffering from PTSD. Now, he's the one who sees a therapist. Now, this is a therapist that he didn't seem to be able to get hold of when he said that Meghan had her mental problems. But he's got this...
Sorry, I'm just going to cough for a second. I find that really weird, Charlie.
Yeah. Very, very weird. Now,
he's been a mental health campaigner for a long time. Heads Together, for example, was his campaign. Yet Meghan, he couldn't ring somebody up for Meghan to get help. I just find that very, very weird.
But in the latest shoving and pushing, you know, that William is accused of, which I don't actually doubt if Harry's saying this, but what Harry's point is that no one's ever extended a hand of friendship. No one's ever tried to help. I think in this case, William was trying to help. He was saying to Harry, I'm a bit worried that you're becoming brainwashed by this therapy. Let me come along and, you know, I'll try to help you out. It was an offer that was not taken up by Harry. And he just seems to just want to use this machine gun approach with all these revelations and accusations, you know, all the time.
why do you think he's really doing it? I mean, we talked a lot about his state of mind. We talk about, whether we should be amateur psychologists and all the rest of it. But, I mean, no one's forcing him to do this. No one's forcing him to, I would argue, invade his own privacy and indeed that of his family. No one's saying, look, you must, because you've signed this big book deal, tell us how many Taliban fighters you killed, for example, which is a very, very controversial thing we've been talking about in the last few days, which every security expert will tell you puts you at greater risk. I mean, this sort of confessional approach, this putting everything in the public domain, does he somehow think this is going to help him in some way, this kind of approach?
No, but as I said, this machine gun approach, he talks about, killing 25 Taliban. Then he talks about Kate not allowing Meghan to have the lip gloss. I mean, it's just everything. They must have been taking permanent notes.
Yeah.
All the time.
And being offended all the time and being upset by all sorts of things. I mean, I don't have the world's best relationship with my brother, although it's a heck of a lot better than it used to be. But I mean, there are things I can remember that he did, and I'm sure the vice versa, from 20 years ago that still, when I think about it, annoy me now. But there does seem to be a heck of a lot of detail for someone like Harry, who would say himself, he's not the most intellectual person necessarily, but he does seem to have a very good memory.
He's obviously written everything down, and people often say, well, who's he consulted, who's advised him in all this? The only person that I think he's put any of these things to before it actually became in public, as we've seen so far, is Meghan. Now, what she was doing, I'm not trying to blame Meghan, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to blame Meghan for what Harry's been saying, but I cannot believe he did not discuss these allegations and what was going to go in this book with his wife. I just cannot believe it. And because there isn't anybody that said, no, that's not a good idea. The thing about people who write books is, if you're doing a biography, is you expect the subject to tell you things. It's up to the subjects to say what they want to say. It's also up to the subject
and to say to a ghostwriter on a book that they have editorial control over, I want this in or this not in, or how you've written it in terms of the ghostwriter, I want it said in this particular way.
We're now hearing, Peter, that he was having second thoughts about the publication. Well, it's a pity he didn't have third and fourth
thoughts about it. But surely you, Charlie, come on, you're. I hope you don't mind me calling you a veteran, Charlie. Is that okay?
No, you can call me.
I did that to someone around of your vintage one time. I called him a veteran political correspondent. He got very annoyed about it. He wasn't happy at all. But anyway, my point, I suppose, is surely you're loving this. I mean, surely you're. I mean, I don't know. It's trauma. It's horrible for the royal family, but it's really interesting.
Oh, it's great stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a front page splash, as we call them, the main story on any front page. It's a front page splash on practically.
Well, any of the revelations, yeah, exactly.
It's post revelation. It reminds me of when you first started out. You went to journalist school, and they used to give you what they call a running story, and they would give you a bit here.
Yes.
Just as you got used to that, all of a sudden they drop another bit on, and you'd have to rejig it and everything. Well, this is exactly the same with Harry's book, and he's now got these interviews that the Tom Bradley.
There's one tonight, ITV, 9 o'clock tonight. Yeah, indeed.
And you just think, what else can he possibly say?
Yeah.
But it will be him in his words. So he'll be saying some of the stuff that's in the book. He may reveal some other things as well in each of these interviews, because each one of these TV stations, as you well know, Peter, will want a little gem, a little something.
Of course, their own thing. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Charlie. You talk a lot of sense as usual. Charlie Ray, former royal editor at The Sun, thank you very, very much indeed.